Welcome to the Deuce Cast Extra. And what a night it is. The Ducks are number 4 in the college football playoffs. The Braves look like, and I'm not trying to jinx it, but it looks like the Braves are going to win the World Series.
Bottom of the 5th, Braves up 6-0.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Earl. And the McRib is back. So what
is it?
What wonderful Tuesday it is. We are here, of course, and this is kind of a weird Deuce Cast Extra. We're here just for lack of something better to do. We want to talk about the 2 new trailers that came out because Book of Boba Fett is a show that we're going to be doing a weekly Deuce Cast Extra on. So we want to talk about that trailer that not so random to the people in the know, but it felt random because we've got Disney Plus Day in like 10 days at this point, and they drop a trailer for Book of Boba Fett. So it was kind of interesting. Not complaining, but it was Boba Fett. It was kind of interesting. And then we have the the Morbius trailer that also, if much less fanfare around the Morbius trailer, but it dropped as well. And it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, the international trailer was worse.
Yeah, so I mean, luckily this trailer was not as bad as it could have been. And then we want to, briefly mention we had a couple of, since we last met, we had a couple of those Marvel Assembled episodes come out. We had one done on Black Widow, and then we had one on What If. So we at least wanted to mention a couple things out of those. But in all honesty, I'm in Birmingham, Alabama, right? I want to watch the Braves win the World Series. We're not going to be here long.
Michael.
Dude, I want to watch.
I'll give you the play-by-play.
No, I want to watch the Braves win the World Series. We need sound effects, Earl. But the crack of the bat.
Yeah.
So, we won't be here that long. I don't want to take anybody away from the World Series tonight. And
apparently nobody's going to come tonight because they're all
honestly, there's another World Series going on in Virginia also. But we don't need to talk about that. We don't need to talk about that.
Whoa.
I know. No, we're not going to talk about that. So let's talk about the Book of Boba Fett trailer. First impressions, Garrison. What do you think about the Book of Boba Fett trailer?
Okay, I thought it looked like the footage all came from the pilot.
Probably.
Very teaser-esque, not a ton shown, but stuff that was shown was very interesting and very exciting. I like the look of. I like that we got that cheap-looking paint job on Boba, and it's already starting to chip away.
Yes,
as you can see in the trailer. I like that. That they added.
It's not clean anymore.
Yeah.
Now, Boba Fett himself looks pretty clean now.
Yeah, he's looking better. He's got
he hung out in the Bacta tank or something.
He's got eyebrows now
for a little while. Yeah, he penciled in some eyebrows. He looks pretty good. I mean, it wasn't bad.
He's he's a man of means now.
Anything surprising to you in the trailer that you weren't expecting?
I don't know that I personally had anything surprising happen. I thought Dad made a surprising comment when we were watching it, and that was that it kind of reminded him of The Godfather in a way. Of Michael coming in and cleaning things up and ruling with respect and
ruling with respect, exactly.
No, Dad thinks the show's gonna. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Dad thinks the show's gonna end with a montage of a bunch of people getting taken out or whatever, like the
getting whacked
too. Yeah.
I mean, it could happen. The Fennec Shand is an assassin. Dr. Earl, any first impressions from the trailer?
I like to call it the Book of Robertini Fettuccine. I call Boba Robert. No, I'm just kidding. The Fettuccine Gang. No, I'm just kidding.
The Fettuccine Gang. Yeah.
No. Well, first of all, let me just say this. I'm not one. I like Boba Fett to be sort of enigmatic and sort of always a mystery.
Yeah.
So I don't.
We're past that at this point.
It's over. That's over.
Yeah,
so
that whole concept is over, right?
I like keeping some characters shrouded in mystery because they're more interesting to me that way. But we're gonna have a story. He's just gonna become your classic anti-hero.
Yep.
He's not gonna be a bad guy anymore. He's gonna be an anti-hero again. all the problems with everything else.
There's a lot of that going around.
He's the
whole anti-hero
Star
concept.
Wars.
Yeah. So, but I thought it was neat. I liked the fact that he brought in these other sort of underlings to Jabba the Hutt, and he had them all sitting there. And there was a Trandoshan, and I was fascinated. Jennifer Beal as a Twi'lek.
Yes.
And
who knew that we needed Jennifer Beals as a Twi'lek, but we do.
I didn't know I needed that either. I thought, wow, this will be. So I think it's going to be interesting. And there's what's the creature called with the
well, there's the all I know. Are you talking about
not a hammerhead?
A walrus man is all I call that guy.
Well, there's the walrus dudes. I'm thinking about the guy that was sitting on the chair.
Oh, yeah, a Thorian.
Mm-hmm. A Thorian with his translator.
Yeah, and I was really hoping, and this is just the nerd in me, but I was hoping that was going to be Doc Ondor, because that's a whole Galaxy's Edge, Star Wars, Disney Galaxy's Edge thing that they could have tied in, but it's definitely not Doc Ondor. This is a guy on, Tatooine, and it looks like. Yeah, it looks like the majority of the show, if not all of the show, is going to be taking place on Tatooine.
Again, I feel like we just saw mostly the beginning of the show, but I would agree that it would. I would agree that it would take place on.
I think they need to just keep it all on Tatooine. I think that that's ideal, but it looks as if for the first time that at least I can recall, we're seeing the capital city of Bestine. That really big city that they showed.
I heard that might be Mos Espa. Do you think that's?
I think it's the capital city. I think that's too big. I think it's too big to be.
Because we've seen the name of it.
We've kind of seen Mos Espa before. I think.
Okay.
This looks like a sprawling city, which
it's really big. Yeah.
Yeah, which to me would indicate it's probably the capital city of Bestine, or I think that's how you say it. But yeah, I mean, I like the character of Boba Fett. I've always been, like an ancillary fan. He's never been like my favorite character in Star Wars, but they're using this character, I think, to bridge a lot of different story elements that we're going to continue to see. I think we're going to see some of this bleed over, obviously, into Mandalorian season 3, even maybe into Ahsoka. So
these
I think
Mando shows are going to be very connected. I feel like.
I think that's the idea. Anything that Favreau is the executive producer on, I think is really going. And Filoni, but I don't know if he's EP on this.
Oh, really?
Maybe he is.
Give him a break.
But they'll be connected
for Ahsoka.
Yeah, he will certainly be for Ahsoka and for Mando season 3, probably. Well, maybe, I don't know. But they'll all be connected, and I like that. I mean, I like the connectivity. I know a lot of people complain about that, but I like it. I need it all to be connected. It's kind of the way for me to go. But I thought it was a cool trailer. I mean, not many action sequences, but we did get some stuff. We saw Fennec Shand and Boba in kind of a difficult position with some shields in play.
Yeah, those electro shields look pretty cool.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Somebody mentioned that there was a logo of some type on those shields, but I didn't follow what they were talking about as far as what company or what did you see?
I saw something. I watched one of these sort of Easter egg things. They said that the Ithorian had this symbol, and that some of those guys had the same symbol.
Yeah.
So they may be part of a different crime syndicate that's fighting or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically the underworld story that we figured we would be getting. I mean, where Boba's trying to get all the different families together, very, like we said, very Godfather-esque. Yeah. He's trying to get everybody to come together.
I wonder how much this took inspiration from that original underworld stuff that was going to be done years ago on TV.
You have to imagine that they're using elements of that, and even the game. That there was probably a lot of story already created for the game that they're probably pulling from. What was it called? 1313.
Yes,
I think was going to be the game.
Yeah.
So they're probably pulling elements from there. Maybe even pulling some elements because there's a lot of rumors leading up to Disney Plus Day. The most recent one that I saw was that Darth Maul was getting his own show.
Yeah, like a Crimson Dawn type thing.
A Crimson
Crimson
Dawn.
Dawn's got to rise.
Like an animated
right?
show.
Yeah, animated show.
With
But
Whitwer.
you gotta keep all that up. Yeah, you gotta keep it with everything, Earl. Just because it's animated doesn't mean it's not canon. That's
you mean the
Brent
cartoons,
would beg to
the
differ.
children's drawings?
Yes, the children's cartoons. Exactly. But
I'm all in.
Yeah, I'm definitely all in. I don't think we knew it was going to be 9. What now?
What did you? Anything surprise you?
No, I mean, I think we touched on everything that I was kind of surprised about. I did like, the reveal of Jennifer Beals. I think that's very like nostalgia driven.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool. I think that I was surprised it was 9 episodes. I didn't think it was going to be that long. I thought it was going to be a shorter show than that. I didn't know we were getting that many episodes.
Yeah,
so that,
9. Yeah,
I thought it was only going to be like 6. So that was kind of a surprise for me as well.
Previously, I even heard shorter, from some places.
Right.
So yeah.
So that could mean that we're going to get a couple short episodes. Like sometimes they do that, but who knows?
People could have been way off.
Yeah, people could have been way off. Exactly. But it looks awesome. It has the feel, and I think this is what they're going for. It has the same feel as The Mandalorian.
It does.
So, I mean, you really have that through line that, okay, it's the Book of Boba Fett, but really this is a chapter of the Mandalorian saga. Because I'm pretty sure Din Djarin's going to show up at some point in the series.
I'm pretty sure he does.
Yeah, it's been rumored. So? Yeah, I think Din Djarin does. Now, I'm not saying that Grogu's going to be showing up, but I think Din Djarin is most likely.
Doesn't even have to be what's his name.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even need what's
Pedro.
his face, Pedro. Yeah, you don't even need Pedro. You just throw John Wayne's grandson out there in the suit, and you're golden.
Pedro's shooting another show right now at the same time. Mando season 3.
Right. Exactly.
He's like, let me phone in my voice.
Yeah, exactly.
He's on the
Mando.
What did you think about that scene with the helmet? Like, so it's Boba's helmet, but with like credits in it, coins or something.
That was interesting, wasn't it?
That was an interesting scene. Like, I was just like, wasn't sure like what that was about, but I guess we'll find out.
Yes, we will, and sooner rather than. I mean, really. I mean, it's not December 29th, right? I mean, it's kind of right around the corner. Obviously, as far as the Deucecast Extra is concerned, we're going to roll straight into that from Hawkeye. So, and there won't be a break, which is fantastic. I love the fact that there's not a break.
There's no holiday breaks here.
That's going to be a great time of the year. I mean, Hawkeye, Spider-Man, Book of Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yes, Yellowstone. We're going to be very busy at the Deucecast Extra. So let's roll into Morbius. This is the Sony verse. This isn't the MCU.
Sony's Spider-Man universe. Although I am going to contend that they want you to think it's the MCU. But
we'll get into that.
No,
I think even some of the actors certainly want you to believe that. Like when they're doing their press runs and stuff.
I mean, whatever his name is.
Tyrese and I mean, Tom Hardy has made it known in not very subtly that he wants Spider-Man to be part of, Venom or whatever. But, this is a movie that was supposed to come out almost like a year and a half ago.
Yes.
So we're at a point now where the release date of Morbius is in January, and it's the continuation of the Sonyverse. And look, I mean, Venom did very well. Venom 2 did very well. I mean, box office wise,
190 million. It's probably going to hit 200.
It's easily going to hit
200.
Yeah, it's going to hit 200. And Earl's in pain because of it.
It's like the Fast and Furious of comic book movies.
And no, you know what? There's more redeeming for some of the Fast movies than the Venom movie so far. That's just my opinion.
Now, I don't know if Brian is being silly here, but yes, there is a Hawkeye show, Brian.
November 24th.
Welcome, Brian. Thanks for being
24th.
our only listener. tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, there's a lot going on tonight. It's a busy
Top of the
night out.
6, 2 outs.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Now, have either of you read any of the Morbius comics?
That's the
Not
thing.
really.
I remember him as a villain briefly, but I didn't know his backstory.
Yeah.
No.
Well, they're strongly.
He's not.
Go ahead.
He's not the biggest Spider-Man villain in the world either.
Oh, no.
It's a really interesting choice, I think, to make a movie out of. Here's the thing. Venom is a huge property that is going to make money because people know Venom. They like Venom.
Yeah.
And they want to see Venom, even if his movies are not that great.
No, totally.
They want to see,
you're right.
Really, they want to see Venom fight Spider-Man.
Yes.
And go see Venom, Let There Be Carnage for maybe an answer on that. But
yeah, exactly.
Morbius, I don't know that it's going to do too well at the box office. And it also doesn't seem to know where it takes place.
That's right.
Yeah. What do you mean by that, though?
Okay, so let's discuss.
Yes.
The trailer came out, first trailer came out a year and a half ago. They put in a Tobey Spider-Man model on the wall, a graffiti on the wall.
Yes.
Of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
It says murderer or something.
And it says murderer on, which is clearly a reference to Holland's Spider-Man being a murderer,
right?
Killing Mysterio.
Yeah.
Now here's the problem: they've had a year and a half to fix that. It's still in this new trailer. So are you saying that maybe Maguire's
he's in that universe? We don't know.
Maybe he's in the Raimi verse,
and
Maguire's facing a similar situation where he's being accused of killing Mysterio, or but then the Oscorp is a completely different logo from Raimi verse. It's Andrew's universe Oscorp logo.
Sony's just drunk, I think.
And then Michael Keaton is playing Adrian Toomes.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Dr. Mike,
what is going on?
And there was that
there's references. There's references to Venom and Venom. Sorry,
there's references to Venom.
Yeah,
little bit of spoilers. Venom is not in the MCU.
No, Venom is certainly not in the MCU. No. And there's references on the newspaper to Rhino and Black Cat.
Yes.
Now,
right.
I mean, who knows?
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, I mean, who knows which Rhino? Is this a new Rhino? Is this the Paul Giamatti Rhino?
Is that Black Cat's Rhino?
Black Cat's a character we haven't seen in any of the films. Or have we?
Did see her in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but she was not Black Cat.
Oh, she was
just her character.
It was just her, the person who would eventually become Black Cat. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting because that's potentially 3 different references then to the Amazing Spider-Man universe. Because if you're talking Rhino, Black Cat,
all together,
and Oscorp with the Amazing Spider-Man logo, that's really crazy. I mean,
and what's the Peter Parker Horizon Labs? Did y'all hear about that?
We saw the Horizon Labs,
which is his lab.
Yep.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
is that a thing?
That's
on
the thing
the
in the comics.
On the wide shot, they showed Horizons on a building,
and that's the thing that Peter Parker owns.
Peter Parker eventually forms his own lab called Horizon Labs.
You're driving Ryken crazy.
Yeah. We don't know in which universe.
That is probably just a nod to that. But it almost makes you go. It almost makes you go. Is this a different Spider-Man?
Yeah. It's. I mean. What's going on? Yeah, no. So is this? I mean, could we see Andrew Garfield? I mean, is this the universe that? I mean, who knows? I don't know what they're doing.
I think it's all supposed to be Tom's, but I think Sony's a mess.
No, they are. They don't have any idea. I mean, it's almost like they're just tweeting out a meme that they want people to get interested in. That might not have anything. They're just trying to get that hot meme and get a bunch of likes, basically. I mean, that's all they're trying to do with this.
Yes.
I like, and here's my issue. Jared Leto is such a strange actor to me because I like a lot of the stuff that he's in, but then occasionally he has this weirdness about him that's off-putting. Like the Little Things that came out earlier this year.
That's probably I thought he was my favorite of his stuff that I've seen, honestly.
The Little Things. Yeah. I was going to say, I thought he was good in that, but there's just this weirdness about the guy that I just don't, it's weird, and he's almost trying to play this character straight a little bit, like,
Yeah.
you know, when he was Joker, obviously he was all over the place.
Yeah.
And in a lot of the characters that he does, even with, you know, House of Gucci coming out, he's like
Blade
silly.
Runner 2049, he was creepy.
Yeah, Wallace or whatever he was. Yeah.
But this, he's like almost trying to be like a
trying to be a
nice
hero.
guy. He's trying to be an anti-hero, a nice guy. He's like,
yes.
Yeah, anti-hero.
And I think that can kind of fit with Morbius, but it's kind of driving me crazy that every villain has to kind of be an anti-hero now. Because
hey, Earl said the same thing on an episode of
you can't just have someone be a villain.
Yeah.
Well, see, Garrison, this is my problem with this whole thing, because if you make him the anti-hero, then you have to bring in another character to be the villain.
Yeah. Well, that's Matt Smith. Yeah. In this.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, why not just have like Spider-Man fight a villain and have these good? You're wasting your good villains, because what's going to happen?
Well, is Morbius really a good villain, though? I mean, I don't know.
I don't mean that, but
yeah. No, but I see what you're saying.
I'm very sure. First off, when Venom and Spider-Man meet up, I'm sure it's because Venom is going to be like, well, Spider-Man was called a murderer on the news, so clearly we've got to go after this guy. Right. And then they'll have to take on someone else.
Right.
And then
and there'll be another villain that's lame that shows up.
Yes.
Well, I mean, they're really, they have for years wanted to do this Sinister Six thing, and they're obviously trying to set that up, having Adrian Toomes in this movie. They're trying to like let the audience know we're building towards a Sinister Six film, but what is that going to look like when you've got 6 villains that are kind of like, some of them are villainous, some of them are anti-hero,
some of them are your favorite heroes, you know.
I mean, and even the problem with having Michael Keaton as Adrian Toomes is that people automatically want to like Michael Keaton, whether that's fair or not.
Like, I think you're projecting a little bit.
No, it's the truth, though. People want to like...
I see him as a menacing bad guy in that movie. I'm not going to lie to you.
There's that one scene that when he has Peter in the car,
they did make him more sympathetic because of the family aspect.
Right,
and
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
He was a good villain. He was a good villain.
Yeah.
He was a good villain, but at the same time, that he was a likable villain, though. Like, he was almost too likable, especially at the very end, like the cut scene where he's, you know, in prison, but I mean, you know,
he won't out Peter Parker as Spider-Man.
Exactly. I mean, and so it's just
sorry.
And when's the Scorpion going to come in? But yeah, we don't have to get
spoiler alert.
Yeah, we don't have to get any
of
that.
No, spoiler if you haven't seen Homecoming.
Brian makes a very good point about Jared Leto, My So-Called Life. I mean, women of a certain age loved Jared Leto. And look, I mean, that's what put him on the map is that particular show. And I just am not used to him being kind of normal, even though he's playing a vampire. But that one scene where he's like, I'm just Dr. Michael Morbius here to help you.
After saying I am Venom and showing
after saying I'm Venom, I'm just like, what is this? What is going on with this movie? It's just
it's a mess.
It is a mess. And the January drop doesn't mean Sony's not really giving it a big push there.
There are horror films that do well in January.
This is true.
And Split's one of them. Glass came out, and that's not really horror, but it's a sequel to Split.
Yeah.
And I think, did Invisible Man come out in January?
Yeah.
Oh, it did. You're right.
You know, so there are some good films that have been horror films that have been dropped in January, and I think Morbius could kind of lean into that, and maybe that's what I hope for. But also,
you got pushback and the rollback. But
I was about to say, you've also got the pandemic, which pushed a lot of films into situations where they normally wouldn't be in.
2022 is going to be a different year because there's really going to be something big every month.
There's a couple things that Hollywood is learning right now. Their priors about the way they did things is not necessarily the way they always had to do things. Labor Day was a weekend they always tried to avoid. Shang-Chi made $90 million over Labor Day, which is unheard of.
Yeah, it is unheard of. Totally. No, that you're right. It broke records.
Maybe Morbius could do well. I don't think it will, but maybe.
If there's enough people that are obsessed enough with Venom, which there seems to be, and they put their weight behind Morbius, who knows? I mean,
I just think it's a not well-known character. Like you were saying, Garrison, they know Venom.
Yep.
Right.
Morbius is but I mean, I think the ad is really good at sort of drawing you in. I will say this for the ad. You do have sort of sympathy for this guy who has some disease and then he's trying to fix it.
Sure. Yeah.
And then he becomes like a bat. And
Yep.
so I mean it's and that's all in the first 30 minutes. So no,
yeah. I liked the character design. I thought it looked pretty cool, like the vampire. And I'm like, obviously this isn't the only vampire stuff in the Marvel universe in general.
No.
I mean,
And
Blade is.
We'll be getting some of that soon. Yeah,
we'll be getting Blade. I mean, half vampire, half human. A Daywalker, as
with
they call
Blade, and maybe even pre-Blade. Dracula is a Marvel character.
He is,
right. Yeah,
and there's a difference between a living vampire and a
Daywalker.
Yeah, he's Blade's a Daywalker.
So. Well, so is Morbius, I think, right?
Yeah, well, Morbius is the living vampire, so I don't know. I don't know the comic side.
I don't know my
comics.
stuff well on that list.
the living vampire. Man, if I were Sony, I'd be like leaning into that because that's kind of a cool little catchphrase.
That was Comics Code Authority as well. You couldn't have like a dead person or whatever. Something to that effect.
Interesting.
They came up with that because of the Comics Code Authority in some aspect.
Interesting. Well, we can jump into then these assembled shows that they do. I like them a lot. I'm glad that they're doing it. You know, we kind of got a taste of this whole behind the scenes concept, and Disney Plus is a great streaming service to have this type of thing. So, you know, we had that with the Star Wars shows. So they went ahead and they've had an assembled show for pretty much everything since WandaVision.
Yeah.
So they had WandaVision, a Falcon and the Winter Soldier one. Mm-hmm. They had one. Wait, they did not have one for Shang-Chi, did they?
What?
Assembled?
But Shang-Chi comes to the service on November 12th.
Okay. So I wonder if we'll get an assembled then.
A week after that, you may. And here's the thing. That's basically what Black Widow had. It came on October 6th or whatever, and the assembled came out not long after that.
Yeah. And, you know, part of me wondered if they held that assembled because
of the dispute with
the dispute and you know, a lot of what Johansson. She was a lot of what Scarlett Johansson was saying in this assembled was how much she loved working with Kevin Feige.
Pre the dispute, I heard it was coming in October.
Oh, okay. So you're right. Then they were just waiting for the movie to drop on for everybody, you know, be available for everyone on Disney Plus before they dropped assembled. Like I said, I liked both of these. You know, there wasn't much substance in it. Now, with the Black Widow one, I liked it more because you had interviews with pretty much almost all the cast. Even William Hurt got to say some crazy stuff.
He had some good perspectives, I thought.
He was very much like, this is the craft of acting. I mean, it was really interesting to hear a guy that has been in the industry since probably the early 80s have some perspective on this whole thing. So it was neat.
But he seemed to enjoy it, though. He was very...
Yeah, he seemed to enjoy it. And he's not one, and this is what I kind of like about William Hurt, he's not one to put himself in like B or C movies like a lot of these guys from the 80s that are just trying to keep their careers going. Like, he's very picky about the roles that he chooses. You're not just going to see William Hurt in some random movie. So, you know, and it's mostly interview style, but there was a lot of cool stuff, behind the scenes stuff.
Good interview with Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
Good interview with Florence Pugh.
Always nice to see Florence Pugh.
So. Yeah,
I liked how they did that motorbike. Like it was just on an arm.
Yes,
behind a trailer or something, and doing all.
I like seeing that stuff where you can see like they did some of it in person, and then when they went back to the studio and shot some other stuff and showed you the difference between the green screen and I really like that stuff.
A lot of wire work.
We will see that with Shang-Chi. I'm very confident as well.
Well, and that's one thing that I loved about it is the amount of practical stunt work that they did, and even Scarlett, you know, doing as much as she could, and then being perfectly open and honest in saying I let my stunt person do most of the work.
David Harbour definitely said that. He goes,
yeah, David Harbour said that.
That was awesome. He goes, listen, I'm going to let that guy do everything.
Yeah, it's
pretty, I'm not going to get in shape for this fighting.
Yeah, David Harbour was really great in it. What kind of did you guys get anything specific out of the Black Widow one?
It's been a little bit since I watched it, but bringing up that David Harbour thing did bring back the memories of them talking about the stunt work, and that was something that really stuck out to me. Was Florence? It was interesting because they were showing the two people fighting in the kitchen or whatever, and I didn't even think about the fact that they had used stunt people for that.
Yeah,
but obviously, because they're getting thrown into doors and stuff. That makes sense.
It was a pretty intense scene, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, and it's really impressive camera work too, because you can't tell, and there's enough shots of them being behind that they don't even need to necessarily do CG for some of those shots if they can get the actors for certain angles.
Totally.
Yeah.
I like that they interviewed Ray Winstone. He was like, well,
yeah, it's I think that I liked the more I think about Black Widow, I enjoyed the movie for what it was.
They did make a mistake. They did make a mistake. They talked about making Taskmaster a woman.
Yes.
And I remember during the summer, a bunch of people kept flashing up pictures of Taskmaster. And
it's a male.
They would flash up pictures from the comics of Taskmaster, and it would be this black guy, and they showed the same black guy in the documentary. And the people who really supported the movie and loved the choices that they made always went, oh, well, that's the Ultimates version of that character. That's not the original version of the character, who is a male as well. But I think it's funny that the people who are arguing against that, it's now in a documentary about the film as the wrong representation of the actual character. Anyway, that just made me laugh.
That's interesting.
Internet drama.
Always internet drama. Yeah. Well, I mean, what's new? That's a day that ends in Y.
I like the way they had the Black Widows doing the different choreographed movements.
Yes.
How they were trained through dance and how they did that roll to pick up the gun.
No, that was really cool. Yeah.
And the lady was talking about, well, we're going to choreograph this. How would we do the, to use ballet to do sort of these murderous movements? I thought.
Yeah.
So, I like the assembled stuff.
Yeah, I do too. I really have enjoyed all the assembled stuff, and I'm glad that they're giving us. I mean, if you've got a service like Disney Plus, why not give us stuff like this?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm glad that they're doing it. I mean, this is the type of stuff that used to be saved for like Blu-ray extras, and they can still put them on there, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, the Black Widow Blu-ray is already out, and it actually came with kind of bare bones extras, but yeah, that's the one thing I really worried about when it comes to streaming is most streaming services don't put extras out. Netflix will occasionally for some films put some stuff out, but I think that's really director's choice. Like Zack Snyder put something out for Army of the Dead.
Well, he had a lot.
What's his name for Roma? Cuarón. I think he put out some stuff that he did.
Alfonso Cuarón?
I think he did.
Yes,
and I think Baumbach did for Marriage Story as well. But there's not a lot of that.
Just a real quick answer, Brian. Yes, everything is settled out of court, other than the fact that we knew that Scarlett got paid a crap ton of money.
She's now going to be in Haunted.
She's very happy.
Tower of Terror.
Tower of Terror, directed by Taika Waititi of all.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah. So that's going to be a really silly comedy.
It'll be a silly comedy. Yeah, exactly.
But she's back in the good graces of Disney.
So, I mean,
sleep easier tonight.
Right.
I mean, what that can rest
potentially could mean is maybe we'll see Black Widow again in the future.
Well,
who knows?
It'd be a while.
It'll be a while.
No one is ever really gone.
No one's ever really gone.
Well, the caveat to that is if you bring them back, it's an event where they come back for just that one thing, obviously. And so their deaths still matter, but they were able to come back for like a Secret Wars or something where they're brought into this plane of existence that they'll have to
maybe
fight.
An alternate universe Black Widow who comes
or
in.
maybe a
multiverse.
You don't want her to be too different.
Multiverse,
I would think,
metaverse.
No, she, Brian,
No.
and I know you didn't put any punctuation on this, so I'm going to treat it as a question. She is executive producing and starring in a Tower of Terror movie.
Well, I think he's saying they're going to redesign the Tower of Terror.
I
after
hope
the
not.
movie.
That's a statement.
No. Is it a statement?
Brian's stating it with facts. They're
No.
going to do it.
No, I hope not. Good God,
There's going to be animatronic.
Well, in Hollywood, it doesn't even exist. It's the Guardians of the Galaxy ride now. So
that's true. In Disneyland, yes.
Yeah, Anaheim.
Yeah, Anaheim, exactly.
Sorry, yeah, Hollywood Studio. Yeah, that actually is confusing. My bad.
Let's move on to the next assembled.
Yeah, the What If, and I actually just watched it today. I wanted it to be really fresh on my mind. As I was kind of saying in pre-show, which I can certainly talk about here, this actually made me respect the animation a lot more than I did while I was watching the show live. A lot of times when I'm watching an animated series, I don't take the time to really focus on the style of the animation that much. I'm more like trying to pay attention to the story that they're telling.
The story in, yeah.
And this assembled of What If made me really appreciate the look that they were trying to go for. Being a guy in my 40s, I kind of am familiar with the whole Norman Rockwell style of drawing. And when they mentioned that, it sort of a light bulb went on, and I was like, you know what? Yes, this really does look like a Norman Rockwell type of drawing. So it was cool to kind of put two and two together there of the style that they were going for. And just hearing the animators talk and the storytellers talk, the team that they assembled was really, no pun intended, for the series was really good. I think that the executive producer, and I didn't realize it was the same executive producer that was, or I can't remember if that was her title, but she worked on Guillermo del Toro's Troll Hunters, which my kids loved that show for Netflix. And that was very story driven. And I think that's a comment that they made about her, is that they brought her on board because she was so story driven, not necessarily trying to just have a bunch of action sequences. Everything meant something. It was very story driven. And that's what I liked about What If.
And especially if you're going to lead up to a finale where it all kind of connects together.
Right.
What's the guy's name? Winterbomb or something?
Yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah,
there was like three of them that were the sort of.
There was three. Yeah, there was three main guys.
Yeah, she's AC Bradley or whatever.
AC Bradley. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they called her Angela or something like that.
I like that they showed some of the actual covers from the comic at the beginning, because it was kind of neat to see some of the what ifs from the past.
Yeah. And they discussed the whole thing that we talked about a lot, was that the fact that the comics, the what ifs were really like, this is why the comic universe is actually the one that you read is actually the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes obviously they talked about things got spun off into their own thing. I know Spider-Girl was a what if comic that became a series. That was the MC2 is what they called it. Tom DeFalco.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal at the time. Yeah. And obviously I think they were talking about that because they were talking about spinning off the show when doing the Chadwick thing. The Chadwick show, they talked about that a little bit in the episode, which that's the disappointing thing to me, because you talk about the endings. I think the ending of his episode is perfect as a what if comic, because it makes you think, well, he's done such a great job as Star-Lord, but because he's Star-Lord, maybe things went really bad for the universe in general,
right.
Which would be a great way to do that what if from the comics. But then in the finale, they showed him just kicking butt and everything was fine. And I was like, and clearly that was, I think, a continuation to be able to have his universe still be there so they could do a show later on.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they wanted to use him because, I mean, he was
I'm conflicted on that, because I'm like, I wish Chadwick got to do more, but also I don't like that ending.
And they want, in the fact that Feige was talking about how much Chadwick was so in, like, actually coming in and doing the voice work, and was cool. Like very excited about portraying this character in an animated form. Yeah. So I thought that was really neat. Garrison, was there anything else that jumped out to you that you enjoyed from this particular episode?
The more we talk about it, more stuff is jumping into my mind.
Yeah.
But I think I mentioned most of it. Just I really liked the I liked that this wasn't Feige's plan. That this guy kind of pitched it to him. Was like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
about what if?
Yeah. Feige said, "Yeah, let's go for it."
And Feige's like, yeah. At this point in time, you have enough movies that you can start to pull that from.
Totally.
And it's not a Marvel's what if. It's a MCU what if basically. And I liked kind of their thought process, and I liked them talking about. We didn't just come up with the what ifs. We also came up with the what then or whatever they said. What now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't love what they did with T'Challa and Star-Lord and that whole thing. That he was such a force for good that he changed everybody to get.
Yeah,
no, that's not how life works.
I agree, Earl. But I think if you're going to do that, I think the ending of the episode was perfect until you reversed the ending of the episode.
Because actually, the goodness ended up in the universe going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But then they reverse it. So
yeah.
I think one thing, the only thing that I was hoping for that they didn't do is just quick interviews with some of the voice cast. I think would have been cool. Because you're bringing back the majority of the actors that voiced these characters were the actual actors that played them in the movies, and it would have been neat just to have. Yeah, it would have been neat to just have some quick tidbits with Cumberbatch, especially because his character was pivotal in a lot of these what if episodes, and so it would have been neat to hear him talk about just probably the fun that he had playing kind of an evil Doctor Strange.
They've got the footage. I mean,
I like Jeffrey Wright's thing though, where they talked.
I did like all of I loved all of Jeffrey Wright's stuff.
He had to decide which voice to do.
And
adjust his pitch of voice, and that was cool.
Yeah, I did like I love Jeffrey Wright anyways, and so I liked him being kind of like the guy that we were following through this episode, but I still would have loved some quick stuff, and I wonder if they're saving that for a DVD release or a Blu-ray release or something.
No,
I don't know.
They won't do it.
I mean, if they've got footage
exclusive.
Yeah, you've got, like you said, Garrison, they've probably got footage of all these.
They definitely have. I mean, there's footage that came out after the first episode that was of Sebastian Stan in the booth. Someone had it.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got hours of footage.
Oh, there'll probably be more when they release DVDs or something.
And it's Sebastian Stan. Again, we talk about how not great he was. It was Sebastian Stan literally talking to the director like, was that good? After
is that what you're looking for?
Lines,
yeah, that's
Does that sound like the character I was playing?
Yeah, he didn't seem very confident in what he was giving, but.
And we did get confirmation, which we kind of knew this already, but I mean the confirmation that there were supposed to be 10 episodes, and then they ended up with just 9.
Yeah, which is the Gamora episode.
The Gamora episode that I guess is being held for season 2. Now I'm not sure if so they're just holding it for season 2, which they openly admit that there is a season 2 because I mean really I think it's a pretty popular show.
Feige said it in 2019. There were 2 seasons.
We're gonna be continuing down, and I bet that. I mean, why not do a season 3? I mean, it's probably an easy enough show for them to produce.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on where you want to take the story. If you think it needs a 3rd season,
exactly.
Because at this point, they got so many projects going on at Marvel Studios. If it doesn't need a 3rd season, just end it.
Yeah,
I like the animation and stuff. It's still not. I don't know if I have any reason to go back and watch them again.
I don't, except for
I won't. Yeah, I won't watch them again.
They were a nice bridge and holdover, but I don't know.
I've got to move on to Eternals.
I think
for
Hawkeye
better or
is going
worse.
to be a lot more exciting.
Hawkeye looks like
looks great.
It totally feels like a Shane Black show to me.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
It just totally does, which is fine, but I wish his name was actually attached to it because it just feels like
convince me that he didn't like ghostwrite that because
or something. Yeah, I mean, even some of the dialogue feels like Shane Black wrote the script. I mean, it's like crazy. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that, and we'll obviously be covering those episodes, on Extra. But for the next
7th, Mikey.
I know, we're about
2 outs.
They're up 7-0 now. Okay, so we're going to cut this thing short here. I do want to at least mention the next 2 weeks are still going to be kind of weird for us, but we are going to come back next Tuesday and talk about Eternals. Just very briefly. We'll try and do like a spoiler-free thing. I mean, obviously, not everybody is going to rush out to see Eternals, but
First rotten.
I know it's at 59% right now.
It's 57.
Oh, is it down to 57 now? Yeesh.
That was the last I checked.
Yeesh. So we're going to use Extra to kind of do a spoiler-free review of it.
It's going to be lower than Jonah Hex if it doesn't stop dropping.
I don't know about that. No, nothing will be lower than Jonah Hex. And then the following week, we're going to kind of do what we did for DC Fandom and kind of break down all the news that we get during Disney Plus Day. There will be a ton of news during Disney Plus Day. So we will talk about that the following. So that's
David in for that one.
That's your next 2 weeks. We might. We'll see. He's out of town a lot.
That's true.
We will. That's your next 2 weeks. Then we're going to take a week off in Thanksgiving, and then boom, Hawkeye, baby. Then we're jumping into Hawkeye right after Thanksgiving. So because it comes out like
listen to the Yellowstone Deucecast Extra.
Yeah.
When does that start?
There's no break on that.
There's not a break on that. So we ended up. Yellowstone is going to be interesting. It starts on the 16th, I believe.
Okay. Nope.
Whatever that Sunday is.
This Sunday, I thought.
November 16th. No, it's not till November 16th.
Oh, I thought it was November 7th.
No. Is it? November 7th?
Oh no. It's this Sunday, isn't it?
Yes. 2-hour event.
It's a 2-hour premiere.
Oh, holy cow. Okay. So what we will be doing then. Yikes. I didn't realize that.
Don't forget that, man.
Okay, so yes. What we're going to be doing for that, we are going to have a Deucecast Extra show for Yellowstone featuring Roth in Wyoming. He's not hanging out tonight because he's probably watching the baseball game because he's a huge fan of baseball. So he'll be watching that tonight. But we're going to end up doing that on either Friday or Saturday nights. Kind of late. Early Roth's time, late our time, even later Garrison's time. I think we fell on around 10 o'clock Central is when we're going to be doing the Yellowstone. It's more of an adult show anyways, so it's 11. Probably better to hold that for the kids.
If you do that Friday night, I could probably be there at 11.
Yeah, no, we are. We're
not on the show, but listening.
Yeah. We're either going to do it Friday or Saturday nights. It just depends on what we have going on. It's going to be kind of a fluctuating thing. We wanted to give people plenty of time to watch the episode, and then we're going to record it. And we had to figure out a good night to do it. So that's kind of what we fell on. It'll be a bit random, but we are going to do it as promised. And we're not adding any more shows to the Deucecast Extra. Yellowstone and whatever Star Wars and Marvel show is on. That's what we're going to do.
Wait, we need to address Brian. Brian, go see Dune. We've got a review recorded somewhere.
Oh yeah. I think that actually releases Wednesday, or did it?
Last week we talked about it a little bit.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, we've talked about Dune. I mean, and Brian, you've got to listen to the Deucecast movie show also. I mean, where we probably talk about that a little bit on there, and we'll be probably doing more in depth when we finally get to
That's
reflections.
All we ask.
Just go see it. It's so good.
See it before Thursday night because Eternals is going to take all the IMAX screens.
That's right.
Now.
That's right. Eternals will bump Dune from all the IMAXs. So yeah, you need to go see it probably Wednesday if you obviously haven't seen it yet.
Morning.
Or Thursday morning, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're good to go here on Extra. That's kind of like we've laid out what we're going to be doing for a while, and really looking forward to Yellowstone. Really looking forward to Hawkeye. I mean, they're all going to be awesome. So, yeah.
And the Book of Boba.
What are you looking at, Garrison? Because I
was checking my theater. Red Notice is at my theater this weekend.
Yeah, it is in some cities. They're getting Red Notice.
It's in Brunswick. So
yeah, that's crazy.
I'm going to see that.
And I mean, since you mentioned Brunswick, if you want behind the scenes stuff on Black Panther,
Wakanda Forever,
follow Scott Rifen on Twitter for behind the scenes.
Oh, know that you're going to get much. They're shooting shots. They're shooting on the Brunswick River on a boat, and they got a helicopter pad. And that's all we can really tell. And there's a lot of stuff shuttered.
Has anybody spotted that particular actor that is supposedly playing Namor?
Oh, I don't know, but I know he was with the boat crew when they were doing stuff elsewhere.
Oh wait, like somebody spotted him in town?
Not here. I'm saying the boat crew when they were doing stuff, I think up in Atlanta or something. But
ooh, exciting, Namor.
I know. The problem is I follow a guy that like takes pictures of sets and stuff like that, and
sure.
He's been like talking about Winston Duke and stuff like this, and so I don't know if he's talking about in our area or if he's talking about maybe they're shooting something elsewhere, or I don't know. But
a lot of times they do like concurrent shoots, so I mean they could be shooting something elsewhere because they were up north somewhere for a while.
But I know that apparently a lot of this movie takes place on a boat is the rumor. So
interesting. A lot of
the seas are angry.
Aquatic
I'm
action.
on a boat.
Atlantis is angry.
Let's end this thing so I can go watch the Braves win the World Series. It's been since the 90s since they've done it. I'm very ready to see this. This is big. This was the last team that had the longest drought.
Run it, man. They're about to run all the bases.
So, okay, let's do this. Follow us obviously at the Deucecast on Twitter, Facebook. We need subscribers. We need to get to 100 so we can have that very specific YouTube URL, youtube.com/the Deucecast. You got to get to 100 subscribers to get that URL. So please, like, subscribe, share, all that fun YouTube stuff. Mash the bell so you get notifications of when we're randomly going to be coming on during that's going to be super important during Yellowstone because we're not going to know. You got to subscribe, guys. I mean, Yellowstone's
got one listener, but
Yellowstone's big time.
Yeah,
we've been slowly but surely creeping up the ladder.
Tater.
What?
Tater's back.
Oh, Tater. Yeah, okay. Garrison's like, what are you talking about? Garrison, thank you for joining us. Where can the people find you on the interwebs?
Well, thank you for having me. A year ago today, we were covering Chapter 9 on the Deucecast Extra. I don't know if you knew that. I found that out through a review I wrote down last year. Anyway,
awesome.
Wow, Chapter 9.
I just thought that was, nostalgic. Give us back the Mandalorian Season 2 stuff. You can find me on Twitter at SUPASH3. You can find me on Letterboxd at GRyphon, and you can find me on the Deucecast Discord. And it's GRyphon3.
Awesome. Dr. Earl, mostly off the grid, but he's been making some waves in the Deucecast Discord this past week.
I mix it up.
You mix it up in the pretentious corner.
You never know when I might pop into my own page.
Yeah. Speaking of pretension, it looks like we are going to have to go to the Sidewalk Cinema to see French Dispatch because it ain't coming to AMC.
It's an hour away from me.
I do not understand why AMC is not getting the French Dispatch. It is very frustrating, but luckily we've got Sidewalk Cinema here in Birmingham.
Sidewalk would be a lovely place to watch it.
So we need to go see that before it leaves.
Erudite, pretentious people.
Right.
Speaking of pretentious, go see Spider-Man this December.
Yeah,
with the new shirt, brother.
Shirt. Oh my gosh, look at you, brother. All right, well, we appreciate Brian hanging out in the chat with us. I know there's a lot going on this Tuesday night. Everybody have a great night. We will be back next Tuesday to discuss Marvel's Eternals. We'll see how that goes. Thanks so much for watching, guys.